The year is 2026. The desperate hunt by film composers for fresh instruments and new sounds has long been over. Planet Earth has been completely exploited. Every strange object has been hit, bowed, scraped, shaken, sampled and turned into a contact library. There's nothing left to discover, nothing left to inspire us. Or is there? The small but ridiculously dedicated team at Sonoscore refused to stop searching. And somehow, against all odds, we actually found something. Hey, this is Tilman from Sonoscore, and today I'd like to show you our newest virtual instrument, the Sculpture. The Sculpture came to Sonoscore thanks to our colleague Jonas Schüsselin. He first heard it at a percussion concert at a German university where the Sculpture was exhibited. Jonas then somehow managed to get in touch with its creator Klaus Kündchen, and Klaus also liked the idea of turning the Sculpture into a virtual instrument, so he kindly gave us permission to record it in every detail. So that's how the Sculpture found its way into Contact. Now let's have a look at how it works. The Sculpture comes with an instrument and an engine. With the Instrument NKI, you can actually play the original Sculpture like a musical instrument. The engine works a little more complex and cinematic, with playable features and combined pulses. So let's start with the instrument. The Sculpture consists of two big hollow metal plates connected by metal rods, which all produce various sounds like played with a bow or hit with different kind of mallets. On the left side of the main page, you can choose between different playing techniques from the plates. The playable range is always highlighted in blue. On the right side you'll find the rods. Here the playable range is shown in red color. And when the ranges overlap, they turn turquoise. In this case, both sounds play together. You can adjust the volume of each section here, of course. And with the mod wheel, you can control the intensity of long articulations like rolls or long bows. Let's choose the rolls here. And you can, of course, also disable a section and listen to only the sound of one of the sound sources. Okay, let me just play a little so you can get a feel for the instrument. What I really like is that it doesn't just create strange noises. You know, a lot of experimental instruments are fascinating for 5 minutes, but then somehow they just don't work in a musical context and you never really use them for your music. With these sounds, I often start already seeing scenes in my head when I play around, like dark futuristic worlds. It's really great that I just can perform it like a real musical instrument. Okay, let's head over to the sound page. Let's first mute all the mic positions and start by listening to just one position. Starting with the closed mics, then the bloom line. To open up the sound a little bit, add some room. And the contact mic. Yeah, I like how it adds some nice clarity and presence, but it never becomes too sharp or piercing. You know, quite a few libraries featuring metallic instruments often sound very sharp or thin or just too close, so that I find them difficult to use in a musical context. If you listen to Hans Zimmer, for example, it never gets too thin or piercing in his music. That's why we paid a lot of attention to capturing a more warm or musical sound with a sculpture. But let's move on. Here you can adjust the release times for the two sound sources, and we've also included a nice reverb with our own impulse responses, so there's plenty to experiment with. If you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend watching our performance video. Jonas and Moritz perform an original piece that they wrote especially for the sculpture, and I think it's just amazing to hear what these guys can get out of this instrument. I put the link into the description below. Alright, now let's move on to the El Dorado for lazy composers like me, the Engine instrument. Just play a chord, lean back, cue done. No, just kidding. First of all, it's of course not that easy, and second, the Engine really gives you some very helpful ways to create more complex textures. So it actually makes sense to use this a lot. But before we dive into the details, let's check out a few presets first. Let's start with the cinematic category. Song of Void. More like Ancient Torture than Ancient Lament. Chrome wheel. This was too high. So let's move on to the contemporary category. Rain. Let's try this lower. Tubular bells of death. Let's have a look in the atmospheric category now. Nebelhorn. You better ring this out for a while. Cry of whales. Okay. Doesn't this sound a little bit like the ritual scene of Eyes Wide Shut? That's strange pitch-shifted chanting voice. Anyway. Notice that layer 1 is assigned to the lowest note and layer 2 is assigned to the highest note, grain to all notes. So you can assign these freely, which is sometimes helpful to get a more transparent sound if you just play a chord and want to play a melody separated from that. And maybe you think now, okay, I already fell in love with all these new sounds, but do I really need this? I mean, even if I feel more inspired than ever, will anyone even notice if I use this instrument in my music? Well, maybe this is the right time for another composer's truth. As a composer, your music will never not disappear beneath a gigantic wall of sound effects, dialogue and voiceover until it's almost impossible to hear. But that's okay. Because we're composers and we know that in any film or game that we have scored, only a handful of people will actually notice the music anyway. But at least we know it's in there. And after all, we're not doing it for this bunch of Philistines. It's not about them, it's about us. We need to be happy little composers ourselves. Anyway, back to the sculpture. Down there you find 2 layers, 2 Arps, grain and the global output. Just click on the name to enable or mute it. Here you can choose the sound that you want, select the assigned note, transpose and volume. And if we open the icon here, we can assign sound and effects. Sound is shape, so attack and release, and the mic positions for each layer. And effects is EQ, distortion, some nice delays and convolution reverb. So let's open Arp 1 now. Rod's deep, maybe choose Rod's finger. Okay, and open the browser here. And it opens the step sequencer, which is a great tool. Let's choose 8 steps. Here you can select between time or note value. We take note value. Note length it's okay, I think. And then let's shape a groove maybe. Okay. With the mod wheel we can change the values of the steps. And here is a fascinating feature. With these little circles here, I can change the chance. So it feels a little bit like a musician would play, and sometimes he makes the decision to play a note and sometimes not. Of course you can go totally crazy with the steps, but we will not do it now. That was the arpeggiator. So let's open the grain engine. What you see now is the waveform of the selected sound. So when I play a note, it's maybe easier to understand what's happening. Here the grain engine grabs tiny particles from around the selected position and places them according to your settings. So it's just creating completely new textures all the time. And we can of course change the position. It gets more intense of course here. And under grains you can shape with the grain rate, grain length, grain attack and grain release. Modulation, we have jitter, which controls how far the grains can move away from the selected position, which you can see here. Now it's more narrow and now it's more wide. Okay, spread, you can spread the stereo image, you can detune the sound, and you can reverse the playback direction. With the shape you can shape the attack, decay, sustain and release for the overall sound. I think this can become a real playground if you enjoy designing the sound a lot. Okay, and global, we have of course the volume and the overall reverb and compressor. So that's the sculpture. I hope I have been able to give you a good impression of what this instrument can do. Have fun with it and now go and write some unusual, fresh and inspired music. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next video.